a really kind of key thing that could be done would just be around how funding is released. One of the sort of the challenges that we had with this programme is that organisations were required to submit a budget as part of their funding application. This budget is often done without actually speaking to any digital or technical partners, and usually done before they really understood their own needs. Mm-hmm. So having that quite rigid and fixed funding up front was challenging for some organisations. Some organisations perhaps got more money than they would have required if they had have gone through a bit of a discovery process, and almost feeling a sense of pressure about how am I going to spend all of this money that we have received. Other organisations actually, if they had have gone through a discovery process, probably would have realised that they had greater needs than they had applied for, and could have actually asked for more funding. So yeah, I think what we at Dot Project would love to see would be perhaps some fixed funding to do a discovery phase with organisations in order to develop quite a robust and credible ongoing budget for the rest of their transformation that the organisation, but also the funder as well, feels more confidence in.
The key things that takes a long time is finding and onboarding and working with partners. And a lot of what we've seen across these organisations have needed digital and technology partners, and some of them very specialist partners. You know, it takes a long time to do your due diligence, to understand the contracts. That's been a massive thing, and do that process, get sign off by the board in order to go ahead. You know, that can take weeks, if not months, and that's only part of the journey.
The people who are working with the communities actually know what the needs of the community are, and our service users actually design our services. So it's easier for us to come and say, this is the service that our community needs. Please, can you find it? Instead of putting a framework and forcing everybody to do that. So please, if we are going to commission something, let's work with the sector. Let's work with the key primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders, and then design the program.
I guess for me, like there's a couple of priority areas that relate to time. And the first one is around building trust with these organisations. This program was very short. It was 6 months. We weren't able to have any face-to-face with any organisations due to COVID. But just generally being able to build trust in order to be able to support them in a non-judgmental way. That takes a lot of time. It's like any relationship takes a lot of time, and particularly one where you're trying to deliver a lot in a very short amount of time that has dramatic impact and change on the people within that organisation.
It takes time to build the trust that we spoke about earlier. It takes time to build these services, especially specialist. It does take that extra time to make things right as well, because what we didn't want to do is rush to build something, do it completely wrong, lose that trust. And once you lose the trust, you lose the community. So yeah, the time definitely was a really crucial point for us. We wanted to make sure we did things in a timely manner, but also correctly.
The funders understand the critical role that digital technology plays in the sector, and not just for the staff, but in terms of improving the lives of service users. And there should be more support for organizations in being able to provide that.
Digital change takes time, and what we've seen definitely in the last part of the last kind of 2 or 3 months is like this acceleration of trying to kind of spend the money, get the tools in, but then without the ability to kind of really take the time around the change management piece and bring the rest of the teams along on that journey to understand the change in their way of working. And you just referred earlier to that website and people being able to kind of self-refer through that website, but there's a whole like user journey underneath that where does that information go? How do I access it? How do I log that I've been able to support them or book them into a session? So I think for me, it's the time. I mean, we typically say it's at least 18 months, if not 3 years, to actually really embed some like foundational, fundamental tooling and change.